Hello world, Augustine Cortez coming live from Web3, and today on our blockchain learning, our Web3 learning, we went pretty sporadic once again, but I would say it's much more in the building landscape. It's understanding fundamentals, actual technology knowledge that helps create the products, the core infrastructure, and the variables that lead to good building and to blockchain. So one of those core areas is cryptography and processes and protocols with something called zero-knowledge proof, which is essentially when two parties interact with one another, one party wants the other party to verify that they have knowledge or data. Let's say you're over the age of 21, if you go to a site and you need to verify that you're over age 21. What this zero knowledge proof is, you can verify that you're over 21 without saying your age, and the website will go through this process and they will agree. And the whole premise of it is that there's processes that just decrease the possibility of the other party lying. The best analogy I heard was, let's say that you and I are interacting and I could see color and you are colorblind, and I give you a red ball and a blue ball. To you, they look the exact same, but to me, I'm easily able to distinguish which is red, which is blue. And I say, okay, they're different colors, but you don't believe me. So I say, okay, shuffle them behind your back. I'll tell you if you moved it or not. And you shuffle the balls or swap them, and then you show it. And I say, okay, blue is on the left, red is on the right. Okay, and okay, maybe it was a lucky guess. So then does it again. So it goes from being 50% right, chance of being right to 25 to 12.5, and it just starts getting lower and lower and lower. But the whole process is that it's a zero knowledge proof, because you yourself don't know if they're actually red or blue. You just like, oh, how did you get so lucky? So that was an area I was just be transparent. Like, I don't fully grasp some of these concepts 100%. Like, how does this yield to mathematical equations? From what I read too, it's applied into the blockchain about like signatures, private keys, all that kind of stuff. It's like, oof, okay, so I still am developing in this area. It's definitely one of those more advanced things. Okay, I could see the glimpse of understanding, but I don't have like that competent foundation. But then that led down to optimistic rollups. The reason I learned about zero knowledge proof is because it's a form of scaling off-chain transactions. So right now in Ethereum, too many transactions are getting put through, and it congests the block. So the solution to scaling is to do zero proof knowledge rollup, which is its own consensus mechanism, and it takes the transactions off chain, and then through zero knowledge proof, it verifies that the transactions are legit, and then they get added on to the mainnet. And on another way to do the scaling is through optimistic rollups, which is where the transactions are reported off chain, and then they get essentially compressed and validated through stakers in this rollup. And it's like a proof of stake concept where people have to verify they agree. If they agree and they put wrong input, then they lose their stake. They get /ETH. And then on optimistic rollup, people can, validators can say, hold on, this transaction was not legitimate. So it allows for a validator to come in and say, or just to challenge the transaction. On zero knowledge proof, there isn't a validator, there isn't a process to challenge it. So zero knowledge proof is actually faster, but it's much more computative heavily. Optimistic rollups have a bit more of a stable structure, and where we're seeing a lot more of these rollups go around. And honestly, it's interesting because 2 days ago, I purchased on Marketplace Immutable, and they partner with Stargate, I believe that's the name, and they do zero knowledge proof. And the premise of immutable is that you pay no gas fees. So I went through a zero knowledge proof protocol without knowing the ins and outs, and I thought that was fascinating because it's all over the place now. And then I jumped around to DeFi. I was really getting a good glimpse of DeFi. I started to get a feel of liquidity pools. I learned about Uniswap, Sushi, what their premise is, and just started to get a feel of this DeFi space. I know DeFi was extremely foundational to the development of crypto and Ethereum. So seeing how it ties together, transitioning to the NFT world with tokenization. So it's really fascinating how everything is fairly interconnected, and I just wanted to get a glimpse of that. I also went in further research learning about Ethereum 2.0. I remember I watched that video around several months back, and it didn't make much sense to me. Like all I really got was they're moving from proof of work to proof of stake, but now I understand that they're utilizing rollups, zero proof knowledge in the form of transition. They're also focusing on sharding, which are essentially like sharding a database. You got the central database, but then you got shards, which is like a fraction of the database. In terms for scalability, staking, and then what's going to be happening with the L2 process. So that's really exciting. I think the Ethereum has so much potential to gain more and more stakers, which allows the changes to happen at a faster scale. And Ethereum is the massive chain with massive network effect. And I think it's going to be king for a good amount of time. This is pure speculation, right? Good chains are rising like Solana, Tezos, Cardano. Each has their pros and cons, but Ethereum, objectively speaking, in terms of data, adopters, and so on, it's in first place by a long shot. Then I also was reading Mastering Ethereum. I learned a lot about tokenization, the difference between a utility token and an equity token. So utility token is used to pinpoint that you are going to give the owner utility, whether it's access, use of the product, and other forms of variable that tie to utility. And equity is more of a security token, and that's where the ICO phase got stomped out because SEC was calling ICOs securities because you're essentially getting equity into the protocol. And that's why you can't fundraise a company through tokenization at the moment, because SEC will view your token as a security, a quote unquote asset, and they're very regulated on who can invest, right? They have this entire accredited investor protocol. So by labeling your token as a utilization, it is a form of finessing the SEC, saying we're not a security, we're a utility token. And this whole narrative, but SEC, these people are, you just can't move things under the rug from them. They have their eyes on like a hawk on a lot of these processes. But it's fascinating. Like I used to watch these things from an outsider standpoint. Like that's fascinating. I don't know what they're doing, but that's cool. And now that I'm getting my feet wet into this area, it's like, okay, like I can see everything's going on and tying the knot to logic and understanding. Yeah, so oh, and also took a fairly long tutorial about Solidity and Web3.js, learning about an Instagram clone, how to talk to the chain via Web3, and how to get the local environments up and running and then transitioning to the mainnet. But yeah, it's a little nitty gritty stuff on the build side. All right, so end it here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.